She got furloughed during COVID, turned her side hustle into a $500,000 a year side hustle, survived cancer, and then automated her entire agency in 21 days. This is Rachel Minion, and she's about to tell you why your business is the thing that's holding you back. How are you today?
I am divine. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So let's go straight into it. So you had a steady marketing exec role at Ticketmaster. Then COVID hit, you got furloughed. What was your headspace there at that time?
Well, about a decade before that, my parents' business closed. And I said, you know what? No one is hiring me. So let me make a side hustle that will always show my skills. I'll always be able to come back. I'll be able to grow this into something if I choose. And so I've had clients for a decade, but I had almost all their projects on hold because, well, you don't have time when you're traveling from Chicago to LA and Chicago to San Francisco and then over to Virginia, and just it made it impossible. So I would work weekends, I'd work nights on my side hustle and thinking it's time to almost shut it down. And when the pandemic hit, I'll tell you, it was really hard because I'm a girl who loves live music. I thought I had my dream job. My first year at Ticketmaster, we saw over 250 different artists. My first year. It's so, I never thought that this was a direction I could go. And as we all know, there's no events, so you don't need employees. So we were furloughed, about 80% of us on a Zoom call.
Wow, 80%. Wow.
And the hard part was you didn't know which Zoom call you were supposed to be on. You got an invite and you had to go to only the one. You weren't allowed to share the invite. It seemed really weird, whereas a couple weeks before we were talking to Garth Brooks and a couple weeks before we were talking to Pharrell. So we get on the call and they're broadcasting from their brand new studio and office on Oprah's lot in LA. And we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. We spent a fortune to build an office and now who knows? So it took a quick second and I realized that's the kick in the butt that I needed to get moving and to be able to not only go from, okay, I have a side hustle. I know the world isn't hiring right now. I can go try to make an impact. Let me go try to work with some small businesses and all the clients I already had. Let's go finish those projects. That afternoon, I picked up the phone. I called a few of my clients and we went full steam, and I was full-time that afternoon.
So what for you did that side hustle mean before you were furloughed? Was it just a side gig that you just do when you had the time? Or was there commitments to clients that you were working with?
There was always commitments, but I tried to work it around what was happening in my life at the time. When I started in my parents' business, because I had plenty of time, so I brought on a few clients and they've stayed with me throughout the years. So I'd work weekends and get pieces done for them that I couldn't do once I secured a full-time job. And then the extra money was nice. Right? And you could control what that income was. And it didn't have to be too much. It could be the right amount so you don't get taxed too much. And how do you balance it and still have a life? And so it became a small source of freedom. And then the dream job happened. And I thought, this is where I want to be. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I looked around and the side hustle didn't feel like the freedom that it used to. And what do? So I just delayed some of the projects, and something that would have taken a couple weekends now is going to take a few months, and worked on those timelines with my clients. But it was the thing that was really dragging me down because it took my weekends.
Yeah. So when you were furloughed and you went, right, let's do this. What made you consider backing yourself 100%? Was it you felt it was like some sort of opportunity that you had and you should go for it? Or was it like, what was your mindset on there? Was it I'm going to go full throttle on this, or was it right? I've got a bit of extra time. I'll just see if I can get some more clients.
It's survival, complete, total, and utter survival. My husband had just been furloughed as well. And unfortunately, there wasn't much that we could do. So when you're put in that position where your husband was making money, you were making money, and now neither of you are, it's a moment. And it's a really hard moment to figure out, what do you do? How do you do it? And how do you make everything work in the right way? To be really honest, I built the business out of survival, and I didn't realize that until a few years later.
But I read up that you went on furlough to $500,000 a year.
Mhm.
So tell me about that business and how you got there so fast.
So we had the clients. We had a few clients. I was not charging a ton of money to do this as a side hustle because I didn't need the income at the end. And when we were looking at, well, what do we do and how do we do it? And I'm trying to plan this on my own. My husband looked at me and said, babe, you're just trading your time for money. Like, huh? And he said, you are basically building yourself another job. I don't want us to build you a job. What if I come in, I help take some of the systems off of you, and then I'm also going to help take on sales? My husband is an introvert. This is not his like forte. It isn't something that he absolutely loves to do, but he saw the opportunity and he said, okay, now let's get the right pieces behind us. What programs do we need? What software do we need? What team members do we need? How do we need to do this? And how are we going to really look at this as a scaling opportunity? Because if we were ever going to get the chance to do this and be independent, like, this is our time.
Fantastic.
I want to talk to you about something I got wrong early on. I thought I knew my competition. I knew their names, I'd look at their website, I'd heard what clients said about them. I thought that was enough. It wasn't. I was making positional decisions, pricing decisions, decisions that affected whether we won or we lost based on assumptions, not on evidence. That's not competitor intelligence, that's just awareness, and there is a big difference. Today, this episode is sponsored by CEO Friend, and their competitor analysis is genuinely the thing I wish I'd had before. You put in your domain, it identifies your real competitors, tells you where you're strong, where you're exposed, and what moves you should be making. It's free, ready in minutes, no sign up required to get you to your summary. If you're making growth decisions right now, pricing, positioning, entering a new market, you want to do this before you commit to anything, not after. If you go to bit.ly/4VKENXQ and run the free analysis now, and if you decide to go further into a free full trial, use the link below in the show notes and use BGT10 for 10% off. Right, let's get back into the show.
And so tell me about that business, the first business that you started. What was it? What did you do? How did you support people?
Well, I knew I could do marketing, and I've been doing it for 20 something years. So why not just do what I've been doing as a marketing agency? I was doing socials for clients before. I was doing email campaigns. I was building websites. I was doing all these things. Why not just formalize it, put that together, sell packages, and on top of that, bring in a little bit more of a program? And we signed up with a company that allowed us to also sell their material and sell how we deliver their material, and really a formalized process.
And how did you get your first, like, beyond the clients who you were working with as a side hustle, were you literally finding companies, picking up the phone and calling them? Were you campaigning? Were you outreaching? What was your strategy then?
It was outreach. It was 100% outreach. At the time, cold email was awesome. LinkedIn outreach was awesome. We brought in 2 different agency partners to be able to help do that, so that we could scale. And my husband was just taking the sales calls, and then we would convert like crazy. And the best part about it is you have the freedom to decide, is this the right path or not? Now, in the beginning, you have to take on all those clients that are red flags. There is no question about it. You have to take them on. You don't want to. You know they are going to keep you up at night. You know they're going to call you with HR problems that they should not be calling you about. You're not their HR team. You are not their life support. You are not their therapist, but you have to do it because you need the money. And then you wake up one day and I just can't do this anymore. How do we get better? How do we get better clients? How do we get more specialized? How do we bring in the right pieces so that we take me out of the HR role and the therapist role and just be able to deliver great value to our client?
So you did that
Mm.
and it was all going really well. And then bang, cancer.
Well, yeah. There's, what's interesting is my cancer journey started, it feels like it's been on a weird continuum. And at 35, I was diagnosed with appendix cancer, maybe 34. And then what came up afterwards, it was weird after effects and things. And what do we do? And how does this happen? And there's weird symptoms and signs. And is this cancer? Is this not? Is it menopause? Is it this? Is it that? And it was basically 2 years while I'm building the business where I was at Mayo every friggin' week. And what do? There, you just survive, you get through it, you pull all the pieces together and luckily, find that strength and the drive to be able to do it all.
Yeah. And what I love about how you describe yourself as a cancer warrior, not a survivor.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
Well, when you think about it, the word survivor feels discriminatory. It doesn't honor the battle of those who've come before me and fought. It doesn't honor the battle of someone who has fought this entire year and did not survive. So I believe that the minute that we get the cancer diagnosis, we're all Greek gods. We're on the battle of our lives. We are on that battlefield and we are fighting with everything that we have. And there's no exception, and that should just be honored. And that's why I believe in the word cancer warrior.
And are you cancer free now?
I am cancer free.
Congratulations. That's great news. That's really, really great news. And so you set up Beyond Basic Needs, which is a non-profit whilst this was all happening, whilst the cancer was happening. Is that right?
No,
was
it was
after, was it?
after. And what we found during this experience that I don't know if I can convey enough is the minute that someone has a cancer diagnosis and they start informing their network, hey, coworker, hey, friend, hey, family, there's an uncomfortable silence that can happen. And it happened with me. If your friends, if your family, if your coworkers aren't experienced with cancer, they haven't had someone in their life have a diagnosis before that's been really close to that, they don't know what to do or what to say. I got some comments like, yeah, I had a friend of mine who had appendix cancer and he died. Well, we know that's not. But what can they do to be helpful? And so I found that other than those stories of somebody passing, no one showed up anymore. My phone used to ring off the hook. I used to have all the texts and no one was there. And it wasn't because they didn't love me. It was because they were giving me room to fight the battle. And they thought I didn't want to hear about their son got kicked out of school or failed a test or they're having trouble with a friend or a husband or something. And it's the exact opposite. That's when I need the distraction. I want you to call me and tell me what's happening. I want you to do something. I want you to be present in my journey because it's the most isolating thing and you don't want to be on the battle for your life and feel like you're alone.
And you want the normality of, I had an argument with my partner or my kids done this or things like that. I totally get that. And what can we do to educate people? Because I think you've hit a really, really important point there for people that are going through cancer, and any sort of illness, it doesn't necessarily have to be cancer, but something that's serious, is letting them get on with it quietly on their own That's even more isolating because you're spending time in hospital if you're having chemo and things like that. It's very heartbreaking for you to go through that. What would you say if you've got one message to my audience on a very social level beyond what you've described? Like, what should we be doing? Should we be ringing up and telling people that they've had the argument, that their kids have done this, the school's not good enough, or whatever it is? Just really hammer home that message. What do people really need?
I think there's a couple levels. I think the first level is keep the normal relationship that you have going. Don't ask them, how are you feeling today? Are the effects taking? No, none of that. It is, hey, checking in, I'm so upset. I have this, I have that. Your normal relationship and that friendship there. But I think there's also the level of even just sending a poop emoji is fine. Send something so they know you're thinking about them. And it's like, if you get that on your heart, you're like, oh, and it's funny. What else are you going to think other than, oh, they love me? And like, crap. So I think the third level is, how can you give them something that they could wrap themselves in? And for me, I love to give robes. I think a robe was a present that I received right after my diagnosis. And it created a level of comfort because I felt so uncomfortable and so not me. And I didn't have a new normal yet, but all I was doing is seeing doctors. And how do you get through it? So anything that's comforting, anything that you could send, anything that would take that burden off of them on how do you create your own comforts.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Rachel. Hopefully there's people listening and watching this thinking, because I think it's not, it sounds and this is something from a guy who tries to stay in contact with his friends. And this is not even anyone going through cancer or anything like that. It's just like, we're pretty bad at messaging friends and sort of just following up with people. So yes, if someone's going through troubled times, but it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be a divorce. It could be just a tough time. I implore you to reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, and just send a quick message, especially if they're going through something serious and something as difficult as cancer is. So, yeah, thank you, Rachel. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think we'll all take something from that. Look, guys, if you're enjoying the episode, then do consider taking 30 seconds just now to hit 5 stars on Spotify or Apple. It only takes a few seconds and it genuinely helps the show reach a wider audience. Right. So another interesting aspect of you, which I find this amazing, your key person, the person that was helping drive this business, quit on you. And you spent 21 days. You didn't go out and rush and hire someone that's not very good. And then you've got that whole problem of a bad employee. And you automated 90% of your business. How did you do that? And what did you do?
So I have worked with this person so closely over 3.5 years. And we built the business. She could read my mind. You start out a sentence and you say, hey, did you get it's already in my inbox. It slacked me. It sent me. Like, she was that good. Or, oh yeah, it's already in production. Don't worry about it. You'll have this in 10 minutes. Whatever it was, she could finish that sentence and have everything done the way that I would do it because we worked so closely. It was amazing. And she gave me her notice because you get burned out. Small business, you get burnt out. You have to know all the different things about all the different clients and just be on top of it for them and always showing value. And that's okay, especially when I wanted her to go on to the next role and be able to grow. Next role has to be bigger and better. It has to be able to create more impact. So I look at my husband, he's still involved in the business, and said, okay, what do I hire for? Because mind reader isn't something you can just purchase, right? I can't just go online.
Don't really put that on the job description, can you?
Right? Like, I need a psychic. and then also need them to produce. And so he looks at me and he says, what would happen if you automated just 20%? I'm going to challenge you, automate just 20% of her job. And then I could totally change the job description for what she was doing. And we can hire for that role. But it's that 20% of that intrinsic knowledge that the two of you had that is just this institutional knowledge that nobody else has that gets stuff done in this agency automated. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're speaking French to me. I don't get it. And he said, well, here are the tools that we're using right now. Let's just look at how we can be more efficient and effective with them. Okay. So he says this over a glass of wine.
Good time. Good time.
We're
to
three.
Okay.
We go to sleep that night and I wake up at 3:00 in the morning and I have the answer. And so I get out my laptop, I go sit on the Peloton, and I just start working. And I start pre-planning every single thing that we're going to do for clients for the next year. But I realize as I'm doing that, because I want to understand what the workload really was, is that the processes we had in place for things don't work for me. So I rebuilt my entire business from the ground up. Started with, how do we get a brand kit for every single client with every single thing that we know about them, every single thing that we know to be true? How do we make that all work and put that in one place so we all have the same institutional knowledge? Then, what products are we doing? We're going to standardize them. It's not going to be something special for every single person because there's no way that we can actually grow them. So standardize it. What are the requirements? What is every single thing? Lay that out, build that out into a very easy to read, understandable format. Next, how do we make all this happen? I know what has to happen for the next part of the year. So I started with getting tasks in the system automatically created with all the information that's needed, custom fields, all of the things so that everything was there and my entire year was pre-planned. Well, the next 6 months were pre-planned. She did this in June. And I said, okay. I went down the path for 20%. I worked 3 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week for 3 weeks. That was 21 days of absolute hell with no day off, no time for lunch, barely a breakfast, and, started implementing. And what I found was, she was gone. I was running the system live. Everything was already there. There was no emergency. There was no client freakouts. There was none of the things that we were having happen before that a human had happen because we're all human, right? But if it's this systematic, this pre-planned, putting all this stuff together, making it really easy to follow just the paint by numbers based off of all of our systems, our frameworks, our processes, all of it, it changed the world for me.
So did you document every aspect of your business? And you put it into AI? Which platform did you use?
I didn't even go AI at that point. I went ClickUp, and I started with ClickUp, and ClickUp is our task management software because the biggest part of her job that was the hardest was project management.
Yeah.
How do you foresee what's going to happen so that not everything is the end of the world and it's not always a rush and we are creating all this value for clients? And so I revamped our entire system and gave my team everything that they needed to know in advance. So all the back and forths that were happening before, all of her coaching and all of those things no longer had to happen because it was all done and put together the right way.
Right. Everyone stop here. If there is not a good reason that you've heard here from Rachel about why you need to document what your business does, I don't know. I've never heard any, I bang on about this. I worked in corporate for 14 years and everything was documented. Everything was standardized, and standardizing your processes as well, not doing bespoke stuff. So important. So important. But so I want you guys to think about it. You don't have to do it as insanely as Rachel did in 21 days without eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But people need to do that, don't they? They need to be able to understand that. And that's to be able to hire in the future. That's also to be able to if you like, now we can use AI for agentic AI to do some of those tasks as well. But what for you? Like, obviously, it was a huge task of what you did. And I'm assuming you had multiple different services that you provided as well. If someone's sitting there with a blank piece of paper or a blank screen and they're just going, well, we do 8 different services, where do I start? Where should someone start if they want to be able to document their business?
What's the thing that you procrastinate the most? What do you absolutely hate doing that you never want to touch again? And you'd be great if it just got off your plate, or it's something that is so insanely time sucking that you just don't want anything more to do with it. That's where I start on what do I hate the most, because I put things off for a reason. It's normally because I don't want to do it, or it takes too much time or too much brain power or something along those lines. And it's not what makes me happy. So I started with, okay, I hate admin. I hate admin with a passion. Pulling data is stupid. Pulling data so that then I can go and analyze it is stupid. And doing it by hand is ridiculous, especially because humans make mistakes. So automate that. Make it really simple. Just great. That one's done. Now what comes next? Okay. I hate, for the nonprofit, going and for every single thing that we receive, I send donation receipts. Do you know how long that takes?
Oh.
It is amazing. For this, people send in donations. It is amazing. We have poor pillow makers from all over the country sending in thousands of poor pillows. And I send back an email for every single one. So I automated it.
Sounds so simple. But it is. This is the beauty of it, Rachel, and this is what people, as I said, people are going to be sitting with a blank paper or blank screen, going, "Where do we start?" It really is just think about the things you don't like to do, or think about the repetitive things, or think about the admin tasks. Do that, and then you can then automate it. So Rockstar AI. Is that your venture into using AI as a platform?
So that was June of last year that I automated my project manager and my right hand. January, Cloud Cowork and I became best friends. My husband said, "Hey, you are spending more time in team meetings and coaching and recoaching, and like one of your team members is now in school full time, and so she's not paying attention. And the admin that we have here, he's not doing things. And there's 4 other of your team members that you are so frustrated about and you haven't stopped complaining about for 6 months. So rather than changing and hiring and then training up, right? Because things started falling apart when Key Man left because she had the best relationship with everybody. So what do you do? Well, he challenged me again. He said, well, what if you just automated the entire job of the admin? Every number is wrong that he's sending to you, and you spend more time going back and forth and rechecking his work than you just doing it yourself. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I will build that. So I did. First employee out the door. Next employee, look at what he was doing, pull in all the different pieces, tasks, all the things that are expected, and realize that, hey, wait a minute. He's only worked maybe 2 to 3 hours a day in billable time for the last month. What's he actually doing? Okay, great. Let me pull in the things that I'm expecting that should be done and the proactive things and start automating those. Now, it's not going to take off the human work. It's not going to take off the strategy and how am I going to think about this and pull this together and tell the story of the data and do those things. But to be able to do production in the path that I needed exactly the way I would, automate it. So
let's just talk about So I've adopted Claude Cowork. I haven't had the bravery to go into Claude Code yet, but Cowork is fantastic. It really has transformed the way that I do things, and it's amazing. What for you do you think was the change from just like, because there's going to be people that are listening to this thinking, oh, I'm still not really leveraging AI as much as I should and things like that. What for you has Claude Cowork done to be able to take agentic AI? You have an employee as an agentic AI doing some of the things that might admin tasks or just processes that you've been able to do. What for you as Claude Cowork and Claude generally, what has it opened up for as a business strategy? Because there'll be people thinking, what's it as a business strategy for you?
Well, the first thing that I had Claude do is pull my timesheet, tell me where I'm spending on my time, go look at my calendar, and now go look at how much time I'm spending in tasks and meetings and things like that, and tell me where my time block is. Start there before I did anything else. And then I saw the horrible pattern, and it pointed it out in black and white and said, here's your data. Here is, if we were going to do things, let's create the plan together on how we get these things off your plate. I told it the story on here's what I'm looking to do, how I'm trying to do it. Like, help me think through doing this without crashing and burning. And what was interesting is had a bunch of thoughts around how do we do this and bring this together, but I had already built the basis of my business engine and rebuilt it. And that was already there. So what I needed to do first is start getting those processes into each different task and each different skill and make that all happen. And you know what? It was so friggin' easy. I didn't think it was going to be. I am not a tech girl. I'm a girl that gets to play. I do the marketing. I get to come up and be the creative one. And so when I'm sitting down and I already have all the processes, I have all the brand kits, I have all the things, that's where we started putting it together and realized I built a marketing team in a box. And so if this client needs outreach, yep, I already got the skill for that and can already do that. If it needs campaigns written, if it needs this, if it needs that, if it needs this type of data analysis, it's all done. It's all in there.
And something you mentioned before, and something on the research that which I think is really important, is that distinction between operational work that you can automate and use AI, but the human work is still, the creativity is still so much, and maybe client relationship side as well. Why? Like, just talk me through that human side and sort of how important that is for business owners still to remember. We can automate a whole bunch of stuff, but the human work is still critical.
You know, one of the things that I learned years ago when I was working for Mech Labs is people buy from people. They don't buy from a website. They don't buy from any of those other pieces. It is that they buy from people. And I think that the evolution over the last decade since I heard this, we've all been watching. Now, instead of it being just a normal post, you see somebody's face, blah, 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 on LinkedIn, selling what they're selling. You see their face on Instagram, blah, 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 selling what they're selling. You see all of that because people buy from people. And you need some level of trust. Now, we all can get on ChatGPT or Claude and create these amazing little testimonials. Most of us would call nonsense on it, right? Written testimonials, I don't necessarily use anymore. A case study, 100% I'll use. A video testimonial, I will absolutely use. So when you think about that and buying habits and how you build authority, it really has to start with the premise that you have to be human and authentic. Someone has to get it. They have to know that it's your voice. They have to know that you are real and on that other side and that you are also rooting for them. And I think automation is amazing. It has changed my entire business time and time again. But we also, with that automation, are really cognizant that we're not letting this thing go without us saying yes. So everything that we built into Rockstar AI has an approval process built in so that you have that opportunity to go read what is created for you. For example, I have LinkedIn outreach going. It's creating responses for me. I'm getting amazing replies. But you know what? Not a single message goes out without my approval that, yes, this is in my brand voice. Yes, I'm okay with saying this. Yes, and thank you for telling me who they are, what their ICP is, do they match, etc. But I want to be the one who makes that final determination because I know what's best for my business, not AI.
Brilliant. Brilliant, Rachel. This is what we need to hear, because I think people are thinking like and I spoke to an AI guy a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, that was like, we are going to be able to give choices. They're gonna, like, everything as simple as they're gonna order me a cup of coffee in the morning. Now that sounds like a silly thing, but you might want a different cup of coffee. You might want something else. You might want a hot chocolate. You might want an iced coffee. I think part of AI, its success is that we realize it's a tool that can be used and can be leveraged and is amazing, but we still need to make the decision because it will make mistakes. It's not perfect. Even if you have given it all the voice and the branding, it still can make mistakes. So I think that is so critical that people hear that from you that's doing it. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. We should use it as a tool, but we should still be making the decisions when it comes to what we want them to do and to review it. Fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Let's think about it in a different way, right? Let's think about it like a relationship. You need to be present in your relationship. You're not going to be an absentee partner and expect that you're going to get results and make an impact and do things. And if you are absentee, it's going to go do its own thing because it can and it will. So as long as there is presence in that relationship and you are guiding, phenomenal. You will have a great relationship and it will not be the end of the world.
What a great metaphor. I love it. Love it. Look, if you made it this far through the episodes and you're enjoying the show, please do consider joining my community on Patreon for behind the scenes and exclusive content. Go to patreon.com/business growth talks. Right. So what does a business owner, a B2B founder, look like when they come to you? So I want to get an idea of your client base and who they're working with. What do they look like when they come to you? In often cases, you can give a case study or someone that you've worked with. And what does it look like maybe after 6 months?
So I will typically have a prospect come to me and say, I just need social. I just need a deck. I just need a website or something. And that's never the problem. It's just a symptom, right? Like, okay, what are you going to do if you have social? Well, then I'm going to sell $1 million. No. So let's start at the beginning. Let's build that foundation and let's figure out who is your ICP? What is the correct messaging? How do we make you an irresistible offer so that people can not only understand what you're selling, but they really want it. And it's differentiated from everybody else. So then once we have that and we built that in, then it's how do we get the messaging on your website? If it's not a full rebrand of the website, which it tends to be, then you get to the point where, okay, now we can get to the things that you want to do. You can do outreach, you can do newsletters, we can do social, we can do X, Y, and Z. And what we have seen, and I have case study after case study of clients telling me, in the beginning, I thought you were crazy. I thought you were absolutely friggin' nuts. I didn't know where we were going with this. I just trusted that we were going to get somewhere. And now leads are calling us. We don't know why, but you were right. And I hate it.
But often the best businesses are when someone comes to you, I've got this problem. You do your analysis, you understand the business and you say, yeah, that is a problem, but this is a more important problem that you need to deal with first, which will then flow through to what you think is the problem. I hear that time and time and time again when people with authority and know their industry then come along and say, actually, this is what you actually need to do. So it sounds like you're doing that and giving people the value that they need, because marketing can be complicated. There's lots of things we can do, not always the right things in the right orders to be able to get the best value.
Well, I think the biggest problem is now we all have access to AI. We think that we can go and do, and we're just making a lot of busy work, especially if it isn't on a strong foundation. So if people don't understand who you are, what you do, they don't have the case studies, you don't have that authority built in, you don't have the video testimonials, you don't have everything backing up your business, there's a massive hole. And you can say your business does anything in the world, but it's the same as those little spam callers that none of us trust or believe. So how do we make that possible? And I think while we have the right tools, we need to be cognizant on how do we make sure that that foundation is solid and tested, because we can create a great offer, go to market with it, and it could bomb. It could suck. No one could respond. So what do? We take that data and we pivot. Okay, let's turn it on its head. Let's go this direction. How do we then get you the right piece in place so that your ideal client actually wants to buy it, and not just the red flag clients that you do not want to work with?
We've all had them. We all have them. And I would do myself a disservice if I didn't ask about sales. Something that I am deeply passionate about with small business owners. They can have a great marketing plan, but unless they get sales, it's absolutely pointless. How do you work with sales teams to make that work as well?
You know, what's been really cool is over the years, I've worked with so many different sales teams, and working from a corporate level, a small business level, and trying to get an understanding of what they actually need. And in most times, they have an idea of what they think that they need, but it doesn't help them sell more. So I work with the sales team to get that understanding and then give them some materials that they can test with. And then let's go from there and let's see how that performs. The biggest key for sales is also there's this weird rift between sales and marketing, and it just exists. And it's a common theme. Sales always says, I can never get what I need from marketing. They don't deliver it. And marketing always says, hey, I don't get any data back from sales. Is this working? Is this not? Is our efforts doing anything? All we can see is the data that's in the CRM, which sales isn't even filling in. So what do you do and how do you fix that? And I think it's just really listening to both sides and then making sure that the sales team is as supported as possible and that they are, taking out the trash.
But talking to each other. They need to be talking to each other. I've had these examples of people that are like, they've got marketing over there, and we've got sales on the other side of the office. They never talk to each other. It's an absolute bugbear of mine, because the flow of feedback from both sides need to be able to flow to be successful. So whether it's a one-person salesperson, whether it's a team of 10, 15, 100, there needs to be a feedback loop between sales and marketing to be successful. Do you agree?
Agree. When I was working at EFI, it's a software company, and I would create program after program that we could do. I had brochures, I had pitch books, I had every single thing that sales team needed. Here you go. Then I was doing series of webinars so that I was getting people into the funnel. My webinars always packed. All those leads went to the BDRs. One of the BDRs wasn't doing her job, and I had a few thousand leads in there that she had just never called.
Oh.
My bonus was based off of getting sales, but I can't get them through. What do you do? And it's like a weird riff, and it causes so much animosity, and there's no reason, right? Like, let's go have the conversation. Like, let's open this up. Let's unpack this. Let's figure out how can I support you so you can get through these calls and we can just get them triaged to sales.
Yeah, it's so important. It really frustrates me. Really frustrates me. Look, you've built 3 companies with one mission. I saw this. You built it with one mission. What is that one mission then?
We are going to double 100 small businesses in the next 5 years. We're on the path to do that.
Revenue?
I love revenue, especially if you can look at profit, though.
I was going to say, is it revenue or is it profit? We like profit better.
Profit makes me happier, but I also can't control what you spend inside your business. So I like profit much more. We just, last year we got the numbers for one of our clients, and 93% increase in profit year over year. And didn't have to hire more people, didn't have to increase spend. It was unbelievable. And we're on track to fully, and we doubled his run rate last year. This year's looking to be pretty impressive.
Amazing. How do you think you've evolved as a leader?
I think I had to just be honest and be real with myself that previously I grew up in a family business. So all we do is just overperform, right? Because you have to be able to do everything in every single role and all the things, right? And so when I went to corporate, I hate corporate. Corporate does not look good on a girl like me who is just like, let me go walk up to the president of that division and I'll just go see if I can get what I need. That isn't how we do things here, right? And I really kept hitting walls at corporate because of that. And there is a thing that you have to do so you can move up the ranks and what that's not me. I'm just going to tell you like it is and we're going to go like make some movement. And if we aren't making movement, I feel like I'm not in the right spot. So now having my own company, realizing that I can build the business of my dreams, realizing that my only goal is to create impact for my clients, for cancer warriors. How do I just do more of that?
Do you think you've mentioned a couple of times about like maybe directness and almost apologetic that you're quite straightforward?
Mhm.
Do you think you've lost clients because of that? And do you care?
Oh, I've lost clients because I have said that their idea was not going to happen and we were not going to do it in a million years and it was a waste of our time. And if you want to take his money, let me tell you 5 other agencies you can go to. And I would rather be upfront because he sent us an email afterwards. He went to somebody else. They ran the thing. They took his money. He's like, so that didn't work. And I was like, yeah, okay. I don't need to be right. I just need to tell you how I feel and the things that I'm seeing and what the data is showing. And like, let's talk it out. But there's a line that we have to draw. And if it goes beyond something we think is going to work and it's not reasonable to do, and you just, in the end, okay, do I really want to take your money for something that's going to suck? No, I don't. And I don't feel bad about it after the first 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes and then we will get it.
Yeah, we all need that. We all need like to decompress about it, and you go and then you kick on.
Mhm.
So what would you say your risk appetite is, and how has it changed over the years?
Okay, so I was the most risk adverse person that there was. And this is weird coming from a girl who met her husband in Vegas and our first date was in Germany and ended up marrying him. It's I was risk adverse then. And now I am changed my entire mindset because I think that there's so many opportunities that are given to us, but we have to be open to them. And so recently an opportunity came up in our community that someone was asking for golf cart rentals. We're a golf cart rental community, and there's not a single golf cart rental company here. So I started a golf cart rental company. Do I know anything about this? No. Did I learn really fast? Yes. Are we now making the software for that? Yes. Are we now going to start selling the software for that as well? Yes, because we built something that we really like and we're using it every day. And it's just a level of opportunity that I feel like now I'm just much more open to because what's the worst that's going to happen?
Well, what happens if it had failed? Was there a lot of upfront investment in doing that?
It's not a terrible investment because think about it. All I had to purchase is 2 golf carts.
Yeah.
And that's what we're starting with. If they rent, fantastic, we'll buy more. If not, we'll sell one. It's not the end of the world.
It's a great mentality because you didn't overextend and buy 100 of them. I love that. Test it, create an MVP, get something up and running, sell it, market it, and then if it works, buy more. And that's the idea of mitigating risk. And that is I think it is a common sense approach, which is very uncommon because people think I've got to build this, I've got to spend $100,000, pounds on building it. No, just MVP it.
And
Cool.
well, I believe everything is a test, right? And as long as we're open to that, we're going to see where that path takes us. And it could be, I mean, who knows? A golf cart company could have just been the end of it. But no, it was great. Now we also have a software company. How
Yeah.
many more companies can we create? This is great.
Look, we're coming to the end of the interview. I ask the same 6 questions to all of my guests. It's a quick fire question. It doesn't need a quick fire answer. Thank you for all those previous questions. Let's see how you get on the quick fire round. What's the best decision that you've made?
To start before I'm ready.
Why?
I think that we wait for it to be perfect. You wait to launch something till it's perfect. And it's like, let's just get out some iterations because nothing is ever perfect. And the minute you get it out there, you're going to find that 10 flaws that you weren't going to find if you waited 6 months. It wouldn't matter. You're going to have to just evolve it anyways. And everything evolves. You're never going to be the same company that you were at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. Something has changed. Something has grown. Something has changed. It could have been people change. It could have been mission change. It could have been just metrics change that you blew it out of the water. So now how do you evolve from there?
Brilliant. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
I'll tell you a little story about kindergarten.
Okay, go for it.
It's kindergarten and it's just about to be snack time. And snack time's our favorite time of kindergarten. There's no time that's better than snack time. And instead, they drag us all into the cafeteria and we have an assembly for the entire school. And great, it's a magician. A magician. Who catches that magician at snack time? And so at the end, the guy says, okay, now this is going to be the best thing that I'm going to tell you. It should stay with you for the rest of your life. I was like, I'm in kindergarten, friend. I want snack time. So he says, okay, all of us are going to hold up our fists and we're going to say nothing. Okay? So let's go, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3, nothing. All right. We're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, nothing. All right. You guys get what's going to happen. So we're going to go nothing. And then we're going to scream something. And we're all going to erupt and we're all going to go crazy and we're all going to do these things. And says, okay, guys, ready? All right. Entire cafeteria is ready. Nothing. Something. And then the entire cafeteria went from that dead silence where we're watching him to now we're dancing, we're singing, we're running around. There's a wave of energy that's there that wasn't there before. And the lesson that he taught me from that is that you can always make something from nothing. You just have to look.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's really important. That's really important because when you're a business owner, often, even with 20, 30, 40 years worth of experience, you still start with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's no clients or in some cases, no idea. I think that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Who's the person that's helped you most in your career?
I believe my husband.
I'm not surprised you've said that. You've mentioned your husband a few times. Do you want to give him a quick shout out?
Hey, Johnny. One of the things that it's been a whirlwind with us, right? We met in Vegas. Our first date was in Germany. We get married in Vegas and we get remarried every single year. And we never worked together. He is the exact opposite. I am the talkative, energetic one that is bouncing off the wall. And he is the calm, logical one that is my rock. And to think that we were going to be able to work together, I gave it 3 or 4 months before he was ready to kill me, to be brutally honest. And he knows this. And surprisingly, we have grown together And he has challenged me in ways, and I have challenged him in ways that neither of us thought that were going to be possible, and that we were never actually challenged in our regular jobs. In our corporate careers, we haven't been pushed or stretched this way. We have not gotten out of our comfort zone like this. But here we are, and it's really interesting to see, okay, now we have all these companies. We're doing all these things. We're making all this impact. We're making community impact. We're making impacting other businesses. How do we take this to the next level? And we're always thinking about that. And that really has become the premise of our marriage and our work relationship.
Can you ever see a point where you're not working together?
Well, sure. I would like to be retired tomorrow, John. So if we can make that happen, so this is.
You'd still need something to do, Rachel. You'd still need something to do.
I know. I can't stop. It just, yeah. The energy level is there.
It's infectious. Here's a different one for you. Tell me about a regret that you have.
Whew. You know, I think one of the bigger regrets that I have is just not taking more chances. And I stayed at jobs I hated some of these jobs so much. I was just not appreciated. I felt terrible so many days a week. And I just complained about my job all the time. And I didn't actually like life. And, one of the things that once we've now developed Rockstar AI and I've automated my team is that I have a freedom I've never had before. I need to take my dog to the vet in the middle of the day. Cool. I can go do that for the first time ever. Even when I had a team of people, they would all be calling me, messaging me in the middle of it. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. Like, they didn't know I was going to be gone for 2 hours. Like, this emergency now is happening because you finally looked at a task instead of being proactive, right? And I've created a level of fun again where now we're getting to test the golf cart rental company. That's right. But it gave me a freedom that I didn't think I was going to experience. And I was so risk averse that you had to do this and you had to do that and you had to have the corporate job. And then I had a thing on the side and like, this is how you build a life. And it was just so wrong.
That's amazing. Thank you for being so open and sharing that with me. Was there a time in the business when you wanted to give up and what made you pull through?
Oh, Lord. I had a client that really made me want to give up. And do I even know anything? I would be called on weekends, night, not to deal with, we have a marketing emergency. It's because this person in my company did this, and this person in this company did that. And you unbelieve, like, that we don't need to do that. I don't need to be your therapist. And I felt on so many different ways that I was a therapist. My parents were in town. We were out to dinner and I had to take a call from her that I could not get off for 45 minutes. She called until I picked up.
Did you sack that client? Please tell me you sacked that client.
So we were put in a position where the next set of work was going to begin, but they kind of set us up to test us. It was a psychology company, a sports psychology company. And the test really was, we want you to write us a memo about all the things that went wrong in this past thing and what needs to happen to fix it. Well, 2 main things, and they were people. And we just put in writing exactly what happened and why the project was so delayed because, quite frankly, the client didn't own their own domain. It was held up by the IT guy. If the IT guy who doesn't work for he's a contractor, he owns your domain, he owns your IT, he owns your everything, he can shut you down tomorrow. And he kind of did. And so did a leader over there. And we just put in writing in my normal, direct, blunt path. And chose to take that memo that we sent, and email it directly to those people to create a blow up and drama. And I was like, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. We are done. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good luck in the future. Goodbye. Amazing. Tell me something about you that most people don't know.
I am 4'11" and I am 1 inch away from being a little person. But I'm really excited about it because it means I get handicap parking. I'll be a protected class. I am really excited by this. So getting older is just amazing. I can't wait to shrink.
I thought you were going to mention the music. What's the music? What's all the music memorabilia behind you? Tell me about that.
I love live music. There's nothing better than live music in this world. But you name your company Rockstar and Moon. That means you get to buy wall jewelry, right? That's what
Right,
all these
right.
signed guitars behind me are.
Yeah.
We don't play. I have no musical talent at all. I'm really good at branding.
That's amazing. And the last question I've got for you, Rachel, is what does legacy mean to you?
You know, it's interesting because I think how we've started looking at legacy is by impact. What have we been able to do? And as of this morning, we've now developed or shipped out 10,000 chemo care kits to cancer patients across the US.
Amazing.
10,000. That is legacy.
That is incredible. And what's the plan for that going forward? What have you have some big ass ambition for that business? I bet you have. I bet you have.
You think I have all these like big ambitions and goals. It's like, no, I can just do this. So let's just do this. I don't know where it's going to go. I would love somebody to come in and say, hey, you know what? That's a great job that you're doing. Let me take that off your hands for you. Wonderful. Like, I don't know, because I think in the end, as long as I'm creating impact and that just keeps making things happen, I am doing my part.
You're doing incredible, Rachel. Really, really incredible. In business, in your nonprofit, the stuff you're doing for the charity, it's incredible. Look, thank you so much, Rachel, for this conversation. It's been great. Look, that's it for everyone today. If you've got something from this conversation, then the best thing for you to do is hit the subscribe button wherever you listen or you watch. It genuinely helps more people find the show. If you're on YouTube, then consider hitting the like button and drop me a comment below what your biggest takeaway from today was. If you're on Spotify or Apple, give me a 5-star review. I really do appreciate it. It makes a big difference. And if you know someone that really needs to hear this, please share it with them today. I'm sure they will appreciate Rachel's insights today. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.